Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 481. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, back from travel. I've got a graduate, and I am ready to sleep. Todd Oxtra.
All three of those things sound are like vaguely like movie titles. The Graduate, While You Were Sleeping, and what's the travel one? The Traveling Wilburys.
Trains and Automobiles.
Oh, there you go. There's Todd's three movies. I was showing off my patriotic Spidey, available at your local Target store. They didn't pay me to say this. I just thought it was really great.
Yes.
But good evening. Yes, we were recording on 4th of July Eve, so definitely I don't know if you're pushing this out right away after we finish, but if you happen to be listening to this in the short term, be sure to leave out your milk and cookies for Captain America. There you go.
Yes. Yankee Doodle Dandy. Appreciate our Constitution while it still exists, as it is today. And Charlie didn't introduce himself. It's Charlie Carden.
Boy, after 10 years, I hope you know who I am. But if you don't, I'm Charlie Carden, if you hadn't already mentioned that. So, yes. We're here. It's muggy. Fireworks tomorrow. I've seen several memes that saying, somebody who, lives in downriver in the Detroit area is celebrating their last weekend with 10 fingers. I know it's the word.
Be nice, Charlie. Be nice. We got rain here tomorrow, so we will be doing no door antics. But that's okay because ultimately it's all about being free. And we're free to recommend a great service that we offer to some very cool people.
Wow, that was the best set. That was the best and most patriotic segue I could possibly imagine. Well, anyway, what Todd is alluding to is a little service called Patreon, where for about the last year and a half, we have had an account over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, where we have great ad-free versions of our 4 shows and lots of extra fun content, including a great comic show that Todd and I do called Spinnerack, and a fun program that I have called The Facts of Geek Life, where myself and a guest take a classic series and a season and break down a handful of episodes and just overall have a great time. All of that fun stuff can be yours, sampled free of charge for a 7-day period by signing up for any one of our ad tiers, as we did with a new member this week. I'm going to jump right to the end of this. We're going to give some love to someone who I'm not sure that I know because it could be a pseudonym, but Mary Letters is trying out our service. So Mary, thank you. We're excited to have you on board. We hope that you enjoy what you hear. And as the classic line goes, please stick around. We're glad to have you on board. But lest we not forget these wonderful folks who have been supporting us this whole live long while on the Friends with Benefits level, Mr. John Sidorf, the awesome Phoenix Sisters cosplay, that's Kelly and Crayley. Kelly is a frequent contributor to our show, and we're actually going to get a chance to hang out with her next month in Chicago. So look forward to that with her because we're all going to Fan Expo show. Brendan Myers, Corey and HD, and Matthew Keel. Our top tier folks are called BFFs. That is the awesome Nias family. They're in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, friends of Todd's. Sean, Stella, and Henry. We are very grateful for all of you. And again, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, please be like Mary and go to patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Get your free 7-day trial and think about sticking around because we would love to have you. All right.
Yes. So if this is your first episode you've listened to SFU proper, we do a segment called We Got This Covered, where basically we take the episode number, tie it with a comic book issue number that's the same. And this week I picked Young Romance from 1972, April. We've got a DC comic that is all about I guess the trails and travails of people dating and finding love in the comic book space.
Now, let me look at this. 52 big pages. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you're seeing this. Oh, I'll give a shout out to our YouTube channel. My cousin, Matthew Perro, Bay City, Michigan, after I unfortunately saw him at a funeral. Our mutual cousin passed away. Started watching us on YouTube, and I know he watched a couple of episodes back. So, Matt, glad to have you on board. But anyway, if you're watching us on YouTube, the reason I brought it up is that you'll see this beautiful yellow cover, and this has a tradition of kind of books gone by where a book was so thick that it had a bound spine, kind of like a regular book. But this was 52 big pages. Don't take what does that say?
Don't take less. Only 25 cents.
Only 25 cents. Where it has a spine that reflects that this is what does that even say? Do
you want me to, Charlie? Would you like the man with good eyes to read it?
I'm squinting. Yeah, you're wearing those.
I will read it. Yeah. So essentially, we've got about 5 different stories, but I'll read you some of the things here we've got inside. But first of all, you can win money in a contest called New Get Your Man.
Nice.
Which is fantastic because you need to win some money, because spending money on men, that always helps. There's one of the first stories is called Marriage Without Love, The Shadow Between Us.
No, that's bad. But it was the 50s.
Inside info, Charlie, how to handle a blind date. So advice. Oh my goodness. Ned and Gloria and Jim and Sandra. I was caught in the middle.
Well, okay.
Paige Peterson. Do's and don'ts of dating.
Let me go back to Ned and Gloria and Jim and Sandra. How can you be caught in the middle of 4 people? And who is me? Who is I? So are there 5 people? I think I need to read this. But anyway, back to you.
Well, might have been very progressive comic back in 1972, The Era of Love.
It was 70s polyamory,
yeah. Paige Peterson, though, is back with Do's and Don'ts of Dating, and a classic love story, Wake Up and Dream. But you know what, folks? That's not it. There's actually 8 big stories and features in here.
Oh, boy.
And you know what? If you were confused what's happening, at least you can look at the cover and say, see, I guess it would be Gloria saying, oh, Ned, it's my fault. I lost you. But why couldn't you forgive me?
I'm guessing her sleeping with a family member of his. That just this off the top of my head.
It's like a 4-way gone wrong.
That was the 5-way.
That
was the 5-way. Oh, I get it, because it's referring to the 5-way exactly.
Or the human centipede.
Kind of took it to a place it didn't need to go. But anyway, someone who I know, this might shock you, but the woman pictured on the cover of this book, and it would be surprising because she would have been in her 70s. This is Madam Web. I think it benefited for the fact that this was a drawing, not a photograph. But yeah, this is her right here. Our senior news correspondent, now a shocking 124 years young, has been in the business for a very long time. But now she works for us and only for us. She thought she was going to have a breakout earlier this year with her debut film, but it didn't work. So she came crawling back, and we offered her half salary, and she's still with us. But anyway, she's got our scoops, our news and reviews down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Let's get over there and find out what's cracking.
Now it's time for Madam Web's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Charlie, we talked about that comic book. We actually have found out that Madam Web was an associate editor. She was going by a different name. She was going by Pauline Cobweb. And that's what she was going by. But she was basically recreating many classic tales of her romance through life. So yes, right. She basically had younger people playing her in dramatizations through the 4 colors of comics. So Madam Web, I'm glad that people can look back in all of your romantic escapades, including that fantastical 5-way. But it's like a comic book series, fantastical 5-way.
Oh my God. There's the name of the episode right there.
Yes, thank you, Madam Web, for bringing us this great story. It's called, basically, we've got a trailer for Batman Caped Crusader. It's coming to Amazon Prime. Originally, it's supposed to go to Max. And then at the time, basically, HBO was looking to get some money back by moving some of their properties elsewhere.
Right.
But it's coming, and this is essentially by kind of a great set of people that are behind this new animated series: Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, Ed Brubaker, and Sam Rister. So just people that kill it in regards to more expressive stories with the animation. I think this might be JJ's first and Matt Reeves' first time doing animation, maybe even Red Brubaker. But this is going to be more of a darker, even a more noir take on Batman, and it's
Right.
very early in his
Definitely darker.
career. We're getting like the classic Batman design from like the earliest days of the comic. And
No,
we're getting
no purple gloves.
see, I don't get the purple gloves.
No,
I
me neither.
Yeah, I know
It's,
they
you
do
know-
that in the toys
Yeah.
and things, but I don't see that in the comic.
Well, I mean, it's if you look at the cover of Detective Comics 27, I believe he's sporting them, but bright colors in a crime fighter. It's why I have never liked, and I realize he's right here, the classic red and blue Spider-Man. I've always preferred the black Spider-Man because I'm like, all right, well, he fights crime at night, so why would he not just have completely dark clothing? You know, black leather. Come on, I don't know. Michael, you know, obviously Michael Keaton as Batman influenced all that for us, but yeah, the purple gloves. I don't get it.
I never really understood it, and I guess I just never really noticed it too much. But yeah, Batman's comics changed all the time. But yeah, we gotta love the look, the shorter ears, and just more of a very simplified look. Even though the yellow belt, I mean,
I've got a Batman right
yellow
there.
mixing in. Yeah,
There it
it's an interesting look. So, and basically they're saying this should be Batman week 2 versus like year 1. So early in the career, we're going to get a lot of first meetings with a lot of his Rogues Gallery, and they're going deep in the Rogues Gallery too, which I love. This isn't just going to be like no fun. This is going to include quite a few people. I mean, we're getting Diedrich Bader, who played a Batman, who's playing Harvey Dent. Christina Ricci is going to be Selena Kyle. Jamie Chung is going to be Harley Quinn. Minnie Driver, Eric Morgan. I mean, just a lot of great characters.
I missed it, and I don't have it up in front of me. Who is Batman himself?
Hamish Linklater, who's in Midnight Mass. So a different type of actor who's playing this role. And I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, we are not going to get, our favorite voice actor back from
Kevin Conroy from Back from the Dead.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
No.
Yeah, I mean, even when I heard the trailer, I'm like, did they snag this before he passed? Because I thought it was a good pass, but again, it's a trailer, and you're just getting bits and pieces. So
yeah, a very iconic art style. It looks like the old school version. Kind of reminds me of those old Superman cartoons. Spiegel, not Spiegel. I can't remember who.
It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, it was basically your first. They were even in black and white, weren't they? Or very faint color?
No, they were in color, but they were very iconic.
Yeah. Oh boy.
From the 40s. Wait, Max Fleischer. That's who it was. Max Fleischer. Yeah. Right. So doing some very iconic looks with it, not just aping the old style of Batman the Animated Series. Even some of the costumes are very old, like the Catwoman costume. It's a throwback from when she first came on. So this is very cool. I'm very excited for this show.
Well, I'm fired up. This said August 1st, so that's just a few weeks away. Yeah. So this can be fantastic. So that is on Prime, and the beauty of Prime is that you have it anyway. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah.
But speaking of this is a DC series that the people at Max decided to hold on to, and it's funny because I watched these right before I came down here, and I'm going through watching them on the TV, and April sitting there, she's like, "What's Kite Man?" And I said, "Yeah, the Harley Quinn show that with Kaylee Cucaraco, or whatever the hell her name is from Big Bang Theory." I said, "This is not your style." She says, "No, I don't enjoy that." But
Kaylee Coachella,
Coachella. Yeah, I thought it was just La Cucaracha. I don't know. I apologize. And and I'm sure she listens to our show. But if she does, send money, and we love you, and you're beautiful. But anyway, Kite Man is a character from the Harley and, it's just called Harley Quinn, I believe. Or did it become Harley and Poison Ivy? But I mean, they're obviously...
No, it's just Harley Quinn.
Yeah. They're the main characters of the show, and you could tell, obviously, by watching this trailer that all of the characters from that show, including Harley, are reflective in it. But yeah, he's running through, kind of a day in the life of him just being a phenomenal screw up. And then you get to meet his dad in the trailer, and his dad thinks he sucks. And he owns a very Cheers looking kind of bar called, is it Noonan's?
I think so. Yeah. I think what that stands for.
He's with his fiance, the Golden Glider, who later ends up fighting crime in the nude for some reason. I mean, there's a lot going on in this trailer. It looks like a blast. I know, and Todd, tell me if you're caught up and I'm not. I did not see the most recent season of Harley Quinn.
I am very far behind, but I love the show. It's great.
Super fun.
One of the things I like about the show is as they're running the bar, they're doing things. Kite Man serving Apocalypse or Dark Side.
Dark Side.
Yeah, Dark Side, and he's offering him a drink, and he's like, he doesn't drink alcohol, but he's drinking something lemonade and tea, and he's like, oh, it's that drink from my favorite golfer, and he says,
Lee Trevino.
And he says, Lee Trevino, yes, Lee Trevino. Lee Trevino is for everyone.
Oh my gosh.
And it's Keith David, who is amazing, national treasure.
Lee Trevino, if you don't follow golf, which unfortunately I was forced to as a child, but for the rest of us, is the father of one of the most important video games of all time, Lee Trevino's putting challenge as seen on The Simpsons.
Well, he inspired it. It wasn't Lee Trevino. It was what was his name? It was a fake golfer's name. I don't think.
I thought it was Lee Trevino. I don't know. You know what? That's where I don't think that's not one of the seasons we've covered yet on the Facts Geek Life, because we've been doing The Simpsons. Carvello, or that's Tom Carvello.
Yeah, Lee Carvello is putting.
There you go. Well,
he had to come up with a fake name.
I was at least correct, and they inspired it. So this will be on this month in July, I think. And I think it said the 18th through 23rd. I don't have it in front of it. So,
but I have to check. I have to catch up because how will I know what's going on and stay afloat of all of the continuity?
In all seriousness, there's probably zero continuity, and you can just.
It's a wacky sitcom. That's all you need.
Watch and have a good time. So speaking of wacky things, it's funny because we watched this and April's like, oh my God, this actually looks like fun. We have a new Christmas movie coming out starring, and I love it how you put it in here. We have Chris Evans, we have The Rock, and then we have Grosse Pointe, Michigan native J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, J.K. Simmons. But yeah, this looks like fun. Todd, what's this movie about?
So we have this movie called Red One, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but basically this is like high-tech Santa Claus. J.K. Simmons is starts off, he's doing reps, he's ripped and lean, and his head of security is played by The Rock, wearing like leather, of course. Right. And all of a sudden, Santa is kidnapped.
Yes.
By some force. And so they have to find a thief who can find Santa Claus. So who could they find?
Captain America.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
This trailer, and of course the trailer is filled with antics and stuff, but this to me breaks what I hear in Hollywood is one of those rules that The Rock always puts it in any contract negotiation, that if he's in a fight, he has to win. Have you heard this before? This writer before? Like
it probably makes sense, yeah.
But in this, it's funny because they're one of the parts of this trailer that they go through that they're transitioning is that much like I think it was in the Santa Claus, maybe the second one, you meet some of the other fairy tale characters, the Tooth Fairy and this different stuff. So you're meeting different Christmas characters. So you meet Krampus, which we've talked about Krampus, I think, on this
Love
show.
Krampus.
Where he has one of those Rochambeau slap contests. And so the outro of this trailer is The Rock standing face to face with Krampus, and The Rock slugs Krampus, and Krampus goes, "My turn," and he slaps The Rock and knocks him down flat. And I'm like, wow, that's not what I would expect.
Oh, Charlie, he will probably redouble his efforts and then knock the crap out of Krampus. Knock the crap out of Krampus, yeah. Right. But yeah, we're getting like really swole snowmen. We are getting a polar bear also wearing like leather to talks.
Sidebar. It's blue, not purple. I guess this is
a different color. Yes, but so yeah, I mean, in this, it looks very fun, very goofy. I honestly thought this was a Netflix movie, but it is actually coming to theaters. It's done by Amazon MGM.
All right.
So if you see, it's going to be in theaters first, but you can always wait till it's going to be on Amazon, probably in time for Christmas.
The next
unless
week,
they hold out.
Yeah, that looks like fun. I'm totally fired up about that.
It's goofy. It's fun. November 15th.
All right, moving on to things that don't have trailers. So Marvel shows. We're getting the fact that Marvel is, they're trying to stay alive with a lot of their, more recent television projects that haven't exactly lit the world on fire. I haven't heard much about this. The Eyes of Wakanda, the animated show. I feel like we haven't talked much about this.
I don't remember seeing much about this, but it's essentially going to be looking back at the history of Wakanda, its history, and kind of how it all things came to be, and ton of telling stories. So I'm thinking this is going to be a lot like
What If?
what's a good maybe a What If, but it's going to be like real, like 25-minute long episodes about the history of Wakanda, different kings, different Black Panthers is my guess. Yeah. So other than that, they don't give a date it's coming. We have not seen a trailer yet. So maybe at San Diego Comic-Con, because I think they're back this year.
Yeah, that was the big news. They're back in Hall H this year, which means they've got to bring something with them. So, What If Season 3 coming back says a completion of a trilogy. I mean, that's a show I would love it if it went on forever, because to me it seems like it's timeless, but nothing could really go on forever. And then, yes, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the big high school ensemble piece. We've been hearing about that for several years. Those are both obviously animated. And then the Daredevil show. Which went back for massive retooling. It was I think everything they had done was scrapped, and wasn't that news maybe about 6 months ago?
Yeah, they had to get several new showrunners. They decided that it's going to be taking place in continuity with Daredevil, but we've obviously seen this Daredevil and Kingpin
separately
post MCU.
Yeah, exactly.
And Echo, and then we also had She-Hulk. So curious what the tone will be, and if they'll continue on with more of their, I would say, like amped up abilities. Considering Kingpin could survive a gunshot and also
getting hit by a car.
Exactly. And then Daredevil really using his abilities in a different way, looking even more dynamic. So I hope they don't play it too dour and sour, because I think the Netflix series did a good job of like bringing all of the angst into a show already. So I don't know. And I don't know what else is left to do with Daredevil unless there's other unexplored areas. I mean, we've not gotten Bullseye, correct?
Not on TV, no. Yeah, the last Bullseye we had was, of course, Colin Farrell in the 2003 movie, and less to be said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and I don't think I really liked their take on Elektra, really. It felt a little bit unsatisfying. So I don't know if they'd go back there. I mean, obviously, they come back from dead many times.
Yeah, well, she's in the Deadpool Wolverine. That's been confirmed, but that's just a cameo.
Oh, it was? Okay, I didn't realize. That's interesting.
I believe so.
Jennifer Garner?
Yeah?
Okay, but not the Elektra in the Netflix series.
No, Jennifer Garner.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure. Like, where's my car? Yeah,
I was talking about the Fox films, and I didn't segue.
Okay, and apparently, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, does this, and I already closed the window, I apologize, does this touch on what we're seeing next? Because I feel like the Agatha Harkness show, whatever the hell they want to call it these days, should be the next thing we see.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of it, and they're really going down there, basically saying that's going to be more of in the horror lens of Marvel, which is cool because we got, and that's going to be, they said it's going to be around the Halloween time, so I think that's probably going to be a, late September, October show, and I don't know, man. I now that we are kind of getting like a lack of Marvel, we kind of have, X-Men 97 set up on a high note. We've got Wolverine, Deadpool. If we get back into those projects, which have already been produced after Disney said we're going to change some things, I'm just wondering if that's going to get people like, are just still going to not care about a lot of these projects.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
It is tough. Well, the proof will be on the screen, so we will see, and we'll be here to talk about it. All right. I'm very excited about this. I dropped this on their Discord, like the second that it happened. And Todd, you and I are covering the first two of the 4 G.I. Joe Energon-verse miniseries over on Spinner Rack within the next several months. You'll be able to tune in, listen to that. Even more of a reason to visit patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite for that free 7-day trial. Plug. But yeah, G.I. Joe there. So as expected, the 4 miniseries, so it's Duke, Cobra Commander, currently running is Scarlet and Destro, which I've been reading and talking about. Though the characters all introduced, kind of sprinkled throughout G.I. Joe characters that we do know, which were all obviously introduced and created by Larry Hama in the 1980s, are now rebooted. They're new, and they're all coming together in a big series in November. A new G.I. Joe #1, and it's just a great piece of key art. And it's so weird because looking at this, you're seeing a lot of familiar characters, but right in the middle of this piece of art, and I don't know if this is on the screen if you're looking at YouTube.
Dude with a suit.
Yeah, Google the image. You have a transposition of a blonde-haired woman in a suit that's very obviously Cobra, and you have a woman with with dark hair and glasses wearing the big star, very emblematic of G.I. Joe of the United States. So we have kind of a flip-flop Scarlet and Baroness. I think that's kind of interesting, and I'm wondering if it'll have anything with it.
Oh, there's always time to do a flim-flam, Charlie.
Exactly. And it looks like we are introducing a new character, appears to be a short-haired African-American guy.
Dude in a suit.
Belt. Dude in a suit. Yeah, I believe I get the feeling that's somebody we've not seen yet, unless I'm misremembering. But yeah, we've got all your favorites: Cobra Commander, Destro, Scrap Iron, the Crimson Twins, Clutch, Cover Girl, Stalker, and so I'm fired up about this.
I think it looks good. It feels like it's capturing a lot of the fun and goofiness and just of the animated series, and then bringing kind of probably some solid, obviously solid writing. So I love that we're finally getting that versus it's like, oh, it's guys in black armor and it's bad like the movies. And
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, you exactly said it great. Featuring the first appearance of an all-new character and many familiar faces is the comic that will change everything you know about G.I. Joe, and that's only half of it. So the writer is, I was going to say Joshua
Williamson.
I was going to say Kevin Williamson, who wrote Dawson's Creek. Different guy.
Oh, he wrote a really good comic I read, Birthright. Very cool comic. He wrote Nailbiter, which is a horror book. So yeah, and he's done work for DC in regards to, he did Flash, Justice League versus Suicide Squad, Deathstroke, Batman Metal, which was pretty cool. So talented guy. Yeah, really good stuff.
Art team of Tom Riley and Jordi Belair, who drew the Duke miniseries. So I'm
not
all
the
fired
Prince.
No, not the Prince. Oh, different Prince. I was thinking of your Minnesota Prince there. R.I.P. Yeah. But yes, I would imagine this will find a way to coalesce with the Transformers characters. That's not my favorite thing, but that doesn't mean that it could be. Todd, it couldn't be great. Todd, are you continuing to read the Transformers ongoing?
Yeah, they've been amazing, and that's what I would say. I think the comics have really, especially with starting with Boy Rivals, it really bled into these robots have personalities. It's not the humans that are driving the stories. Which I'm like,
and they're not wisecracking racist robots like
no, and that's the thing. And I think that's the fun part. Yes, we don't need to make our robots the worst version of us.
Oh my God. Well, I'm very excited about this. So again, November 13th, that I will pre-order that. And they're terrible about making pre-orders available. It's not like with Marvel and DC. You really gotta remember and wait it out. Yeah,
you'll know when it's there.
Well, we
won't forget.
It's already in my calendar, so there's no doubt about it. So, all right. Well, that takes us out of the news. Todd, time to get out that Fuber app, that feeble Uber app. We've got to get ourselves down to Scugtown, Nastyville. The Geek Easy awaits. We're getting in that dirty, stinky cab with the AM radio. The guy turns it on, and all of a sudden I'm hearing this advertisement.
Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button? Go to Zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, like I said, I've been traveling, did Logan's open house, so I did not get a lot of chance to watch new things because I always had high intentions. Oh, I'm going to be in the hotel room, I'll do these things. I didn't. So I did watch Inside Out 2 with the family. We had a blast. Great movie. It's amazing.
Yes.
Especially if you've ever had kids, if you've been a teenager or you have teens. Definitely, one
would expect that everyone has didn't go from tween age to adult age that they've been a teenager.
Some people didn't. Some people just have either not gone through it or skipped it completely and became miserable adults. Yeah. So.
Oh, great! Like middle management at most corporate jobs.
We've all met those people that were adults at the age of 12. It's like, okay, you need to grow up. Yeah. So check out Inside Out 2. Really enjoyed it. I have been caught up with The Boys this season.
More exploding everything. Do you feel like here's a question. Do you feel like the exorbitant violence is just how much higher can we take it? And it's not really feeding the story. That's kind of where, because the most recent one with the farm, and I got to tell you, the best part of that episode was the old McDonald that played over the credits.
They did add some levity because there's not been a lot of levity this season. It's been but I mean, who's dying next? What bad thing is going to happen? And
I mean, the whole episode with Homelander in the lab where he grew up and he murders everybody, and two of them he kills, and the one guy he burns to death, and the other guy he shoots through the dick. I mean, it's like, why are you doing this? It seems to be like how much
it's very drawn out.
Yeah,
and I think that good part is they've announced that season 5 is their last, so I think it's finally time to land this bird to see where we're going. But they have done a good job of touching on Gen V with some of the little cameos and things we've seen.
Yep.
And I am really curious to see where most of this goes because this season is going certain routes. We did have, Billy is trying to figure out where he's going, what's going to happen. And we had, I think, a breakthrough with, what's happened to him and then what happened to the bunny. So if you're watching the show, you'll see what happened to a bunny. And we know that something happened to Butcher where he blacked out and he demolished things. So
right. Yeah.
He might not be as dead as we think he's going to be.
Right.
And that may not be Cancer Charlie is what I'm just going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of
so. But I think we need some resolution soon because this season feels like, it's been drawn out, like certain things probably longer than they need to be. But I did laugh. The one girl who, the actress who plays Firecracker. Yeah. She's actually gay, which is so funny that she's playing a character that's totally
total mega hat.
She's like, I just play the role I'm playing. I can do anything. She's like, yep, I can make it look like I'm the Jesus Juice member of the team. Which
oh my god, it's pretty great. And I do love who is the black actress who's who's the smartest person in the world?
Oh, Sage.
Yeah, Sage, and her flirtation with the Deep, and how he. Oh my god, just.
Well, she has to make herself dumb to enjoy things, which I absolutely love. So basically has to dumb herself down, which then, which it's a great dynamic because, and then the Deep is gone. He's finally getting some, he's going deeper.
Yes, exactly.
Oh is what we can say. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Some things, the chess pieces are moving in the show. So we'll see where this goes.
Right. And the boys, of course, is on Prime. So I always like to shout that out. But yes, Hot D, House O the Dragon. Holy cow. We got some drag. We don't. I feel like we get maybe like 2 minutes. Maybe 2 minutes of dragon screen time. We got it in two different ways in this most recent.
Yes,
episode. Yeah.
Dragons showed up, but they didn't really do anything. They just kind of watched some things and landed.
Didn't eat anybody. Nobody got set on fire.
Maybe they're lonely. We don't know.
Oh, we did get the potential of some horny dragons, which that's a scene that
how do you get those eggs, Charlie? Eggs don't come from nowhere.
That can be a deleted scene for the home video release, please. Let's avoid the dragon humping. That's just no joy for me.
There's an audience for that somewhere, but not here. So essentially, the first 3 episodes, are just building up that tension to looks like we're gonna finally get some action, which we really need because we have not gotten a lot. The only action that actually happened off like screen, where we have these 2 families that have been fighting for decades finally came to blows and we see their bodies, but no real movement forward. But we do have it where it looks like essentially the Master of Whispers now that we've got is essentially pulling all the threads finally on staff with Prince Aegon. We'll see where this is going to go, but I think it's going to go horribly wrong. But I did like the fact that Rhaenyra did make an honest attempt to see if she could settle things amicably, and obviously that did not go well.
Yes, they got together in the well, or the Well of the Souls, or the Castle of a Million Candles, or whatever it was. Yeah, trying to lay it down. So we've got, is it this, they do 10 episodes, so we're, what is it, was this 3?
It's 10 or 8, but we're at 3. It's always must-see TV. Okay. Always love, the behind the scenes. So, yeah, and my hotel had actual HBO, so that's why I watched it.
I tell you, and if you travel more frequently, my recommendation is always the Travel Roku. That's what got me through my long travels.
I had a laptop with me, so what's the worst thing I watch on a laptop?
Very true. Yeah, laptop.
And I actually podcasted the first time ever in a hotel room. Worked really well. Brought the laptop. Brought this mic with me. I had decent internet for a chance. Or for
I've done a few episodes of Holocron early on. But
I was not sitting in the bed, Charlie. I was at the table.
I sat at the desk when I did it, being professional. That was long ago. I didn't own a desk. And I had a bad back. I don't know. Whatever my excuse to be. All right. The Acolyte, Star Wars. Now, it's funny, after you and I finish here, I'll be recording with Mark.
Yes.
Holocron will be pushing that out. Mark tends to dig a little deeper because he's a little bit more of a devotee, and I try to balance that out. But Todd, you covered the first couple of episodes with us, but I know that you have some notions. We're talking about episodes 5 and 6, or just running it up to this point. So by all means, where are you landing presently with the Acolyte after episode 6?
I still don't get the tone of the show. It's all over the place. We have I will say we're finally getting into, and spoilers if you're not up to speed, but we're finally getting some answers to our questions. The big battle between Smilo Ren and the Jedi was really a cool battle.
Oh, it was fabulous. And the deaths, you didn't really expect that. 2 of our the thing that made me cancel my action figure order is that now all the characters are dead. So I don't need
what's his name?
It was Jord and Jackie Moon. Yeah,
just like Jord. Out. Yeah, like Jorts. I'm going to call him Jord. Like the shorts, jean shorts. Jord
Ash. Just call him Jord.
Yeah.
Jord. Yeah, and then
Jackie Moon, gone, and it did kind of surprise me. And somebody made a point about this, but it felt like he was so overpowering against all those Jedi, and then you get to the battle, and then he's destroying them, but then he takes on Soul and even Jackie, and it's like it just felt like weird. It was like, okay, all of a sudden I am the most powerful person on the planet, but now I'm gonna just have regular battles.
Right.
So it did feel a little bit weird, but they said, well, yeah, these Jedis probably have never faced Force users before.
Right.
Get that. And we did find out it actually takes 3 impalements by a lightsaber to actually kill him.
In the mid to upper body, so kind of center mass, because it was a triangle. He went boop, 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 and she was toast. Yeah. So, That was, but that was a big surprise. I know watching that, and again, that was in episode 5. We got episode 6 last night.
Yep.
That it was a big shocker, and it much needed. Even Daphne Keene has gone on some interviews recently and saying, "Hey, what I really appreciate about the show overall is that they're willing to take those chances, and because one of the biggest things were places where you can really get stuck is that there are no stakes with the characters as far as who's going to make it, who's going to not." And I appreciated that, but we end up with a parent trap, so the sisters switch places.
Exactly, but that lasted like 2 seconds because everybody figured it out. We got like the weird tracker dude figured it out, and apparently Jason figured it out really quick. Manny,
right. Manny.
And this was the slow burn episode. This was kind of like we're going to tell you what happened, but wait till next episode.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because yes, once Soul uncovers that May has swapped places with Osha, and he stuns her and ties her down to a chair or into a bio bed in their little sick bay there. He's like, now we're going to hash it out. End of episode. It's episodic television. What are you going to do?
We're getting like a oceanside seduction between Jason and Osha.
I just watched it again tonight, and he's like, well, if you're not going to join me in here, can I have my clothes back? Yeah, so
we almost got Star Wars butt, Charlie. There's like been we got what we almost got a Star Wars nudity in Return of the Jedi, or maybe we did. I don't know.
We did. You know what?
No one can ever know.
With that, and we're of course referring to the scene in Jabba's palace. If you do pause it at the exact right moment, when Ula, she was a London ballet dancer in real life.
Don't tell anybody, then they'll figure out our secrets, and then
she falls. And you can, pausing it on my VHS, you do see a boob move through the thing, and I'm just saying, it does exist. It's just very
but George let that one go.
I don't know. Maybe fix it.
Did he fix it in the special edition?
Must have. Oh my God! All right. Well,
Star Wars continues.
It will. All right. We have 2 more episodes of The Acolyte, which happens on Tuesday. You'll hear about it a little bit more in depth and unbelievable scrutiny with myself and Mark and our guest, who I've not yet met. It's somebody new that Mark's bringing in. So you'll hear that.
That's their name.
Yes. You'll hear it concurrently with probably hearing the show. But anyway, all right. On my side, I just finished. I read the last 2 of 4 issues today of The Sons of Star Trek, which was a miniseries. Star Trek is published by IDW. And this was Q's son, which we met, who was played by John Delancey's real son in the very late series episode of Voyager, comes to Deep Space Nine pretty much close to the end of the series because all of our characters look about that age. But it's falling in lockstep with other things that have been happening in the 2 ongoing Star Trek comics, including the fact that Worf's son Alexander led this bloody revolution, and now he's imprisoned. Nog is, as we saw him at the end of DS9, Jake is kind of drifting through life. And so you get these 3 sons. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. That Q Jr. or QJ, they call him throughout the series, snaps his fingers and he transports them onto an alternate reality ship, and it's guest star heaven. Gul Dukat is the captain of the ship, Starfleet. But you also have Tuvix, who was the blend of Tuvok and Neelix from Voyager, which is the source of many millions of memes. You get Mariner from Lower Decks. Jadzia Dax still alive. You just get a lot of different stuff.
Oh my God.
These 4 issues are...
I've been reading my fan fiction.
I guess. These 4 issues are really just an exploration of these characters and where they're stuck in life and trying to find out life lessons. So it's a great read. I'm not going to spoil it. But again, all the issues are out now. I've fallen off the bandwagon of reading Star Trek every month. I was really on top of it. And I'm like, I got all these piling up. And so I've kind of limited myself to the miniseries, but I've not kept up with any until I got to this one because I thought it sounded really interesting when it was solicited, probably 6 or 8 months ago, and I jumped on it. So yeah, I'd recommend it. And as we've talked about with digital comics, of course, you can find these at your local comic shop. I'm sure eventually, apart from single issues, there'll be a trade of it that you can pick up. Definitely support your local comic shop. But if you're a digital reader like I am, generally when these comics come out, after 1 or 2 more issues goes by, the price of those previous issues will be cut in half. So it's
Comixology has discounts, especially if you're a Comixology
unlimited
subscriber. Yep.
Through Kindle, by the way, because Comixology is not an app anymore. So I would recommend that one. I thought it was fun. And then secondly, Star Trek Prodigy is back. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, which is what we're going to talk about on Code 47 when we record it this month. But all the episodes are there, so I've got to get back and start watching them, obviously. But one thing that returned kind of under the radar for me was that 90s show, which is the spinoff of that 70s show. Yeah, back for a second season.
Did they get Danny Masterson out of jail? Not so much.
That would be quite a feat. But the thing that was lacking here is that there was no recap. So this takes place a year later. So it's a summer thing because the daughter of Donna and Eric,
they stay with them during the summer.
Yeah. So they come back and visit in the summer. So the first couple of episodes actually had Laura Prepon as Donna as a recurring character, but also had the return of her dad, Bob Pinciotti, who was a great character. But
he's still alive?
Yeah, Don Stark, apparently so, and he looks
the wife is dead. Donna is, or not Donna. What's her name is dead.
Donna's mom, and then Eric,
Queen of the Forest.
Eric's sister is dead too. Actress Lisa Robin Kelly.
Oh, that's right. She had some issues. Yeah,
had a drug problem, but we've not yet seen Eric this season. But anyway, it's a very typical sitcom. But Todd, the thing that I think is notable is in episode 3, we get the return of a character that's played by Todd Oxford with hair, Seth Green, returns. And because he had a role.
Are they wearing like hypercolor and cross-colored jeans?
They were working in this episode with Seth Green. They were working at Hot Topic, but they were at war with the guys from Abercrombie and Fitch. It was pretty fun.
Okay. What year was this? Because I feel like that's
90.
Like Abercrombie and Fitch and Hot Topic were like
95,
90s.
Yeah, this is 90. I think it's 95 or 96. Yeah,
I was going to say Chess King, maybe Chess King, and what was the other one?
I know Abercrombie was a thing. Spencer's was around at that time, but Hot Topic, that might have been just the genesis of it. But Leia, who is the daughter and the central character, gets, because she's staying in Point Place for the summer, staying with the grandparents, she gets a job and blah blah blah. But it was that one's fun, and I assume it's 10 episodes. It's not exactly must watch. I don't know when we'll get back to it, but yeah, it's a good time. Are you? I heard the clickety clack. Are you doing some research?
I'm looking it up. Abercrombie and Fitch. Apparently, the company was.
I looked it up.
1892, but
I looked it up. Yeah, I was like, are they? Because I figured, are they even still around? Because they've been so mired in controversy with they only have guys with 6-packs and stuff, which is spoofed in the episode. But Seth Green gives a great performance.
Oh yeah.
Seth Green gives a great performance, so it's fun. Did you watch the 90s show when it came on last year?
Nope.
Check it out.
I couldn't even summon any interest in that show.
I understand. It's a dumb set. It's like the later seasons of that 70s show.
It's like Happy Days to me, and it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, good. Yeah. We're in the Ted C. McGinley phase. Of
exactly.
Days. Oh my God.
Season 2, they've jumped the shark.
Oh my God. All right. Well, that takes us out of the Geek Easy. Todd, time to get out that Air Qantas app. We got to get down to the land down under. Hologram Tina, and the mutants await for us to continue the Summer of X, Part 4 of 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine. So let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained, and we are on Part 4 of the Summer of X, X-Men Unite. But this time we're disunited because we're going back, way back to where it all began, the origins with X-Men Origins Wolverine. This came out in 2009, April 9th, 2009. Essentially, once again, 3-year break from the last X-Men film. This time, though, directed by Gavin Hood, who, honestly, this might have been where he peaked. Screenplay by David Benioff, if you know that name, from one of the showrunners of the Game of Thrones.
The GOT bros. Yeah, him and his partner wrote this one together, I think, yeah.
Well, Skip Woods is the other person, so I'm not sure who Skip Woods is, but not the other guy.
Skip him.
Yes. A budget of $150 million, made $373. So always good to double your budget with your box office.
Yeah, they squeaked on through, exactly. So yeah.
Yep. The byline is the early years of James Logan, featuring his rivalry with his brother Victor Creed, his service in the Special Forces Team Weapon X, and his experimentation into the metal-lined mutant Wolverine. Looking back, this movie scored a 38% on the tomato meter by critics, and the audience liked it a little bit better at 58%. You can watch this film if you have not already watched it or want to watch refresh your memory on Disney Plus and other ways to get it, basically video, library, falling off a truck, someone's garbage.
Right.
Look for it now.
Big pile of them in a dumpster, absolutely.
Yep.
I will say,
let's look at the cast. Let's look at the cast, Charlie.
I would say first and foremost, I will pick apart the fact that the summary called him James Logan, of which case his actual name is James Howlett, and Logan is a nickname he picks up along the way. So boo on you, bad summary.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Based on there was a Wolverine origin comic back in the day, this was partially built on. Yeah. So, cause we know anything, we need to know every bit about our heroes because the more we tell us, the more interesting they'll be.
Just like Boba Fett and Darth Vader, you need to know everything. He hates sand.
Exactly. So we did get a couple of retrofits in this. So we got Liev Schreiber as Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth. Now, we know what we know based on the movies. We're actually in the latest trailer for Deadpool. Did you see it, Charlie? Where they introduced the classic. The classic Sabretooth from the first movie is back. Great. Tyler Mane.
Yeah, and he has big bushy eyebrows and black eyes, and his mullet. He has a big beard.
Aged a little grayer along the mane. Yeah.
I know that actor himself has put on a lot of weight, so he has a big bushy beard. Sure. Yeah. So
So we've got Ryan Reynolds showing up as Deadpool. Really, one of his first big roles. I think this is post Blade 3.
But before the Green Lantern, which was in 2011.
Yeah. Danny Houston playing an early version of William Stryker, which we saw in, the second X-Men film. Danny Houston's amazing. I wish he was in more things.
Yeah.
That dude is scary.
I was going to say, he was in everything, and he is. A lot of these people are like serious. Like, does Fox, keep these people in the basement somewhere because they seem to be in every Fox film?
Will.i.am playing Wraith, who's one of the team. Wraith, kind of a cool character. He can teleport. That's kind of cool. Lynn Collins is Kayla Silverfox, who can basically touch and make people do things. Kevin Durand, a favorite of mine, playing Red Duke's Blob, the immovable object. Dominic Monaghan playing Chris Bradley. I really don't remember the character he was playing, like a mutant. Taylor Kitsch from Friday Night Lights playing Remy LeBeau.
Yep.
Daniel Henney playing Agent Zero. Super abilities, I think, was probably like good aim and
I had to look him up. It was some kind of energy projection or like kinetic energy something. But in this, he and Deadpool seem to have the same abilities, except
very fast.
Except for at the end of it when Agent Zero meets his Waterloo, and excuse me for spoilers, obviously. And Wolverine does his beautiful cool guys walk away from explosions. The exploding chopper obviously kills him, but he can do flips through the air. A lot of lazy wire work in this movie, by the way. People flipping, exactly. So that was that one. So, and then you get into the druthers of some of the people that you'll never hear about. So,
and then we do get some other characters. We get the Heather and Travis Hudson, who were Alpha Flight. James Hudson, which was supposed to be they found Wolverine when he came out of Weapon X. So, that's one thing. We also have we have a flashback when Logan was young. So we do have some actors playing them. Troye Sivan. Wow. Troye Sivan played little Jimmy back in the day. Michael James Olsen played young Victor. John Howlett, who was the guy who was Wolverine's father. Well,
No. He was married to Wolverine's mother, but his real father was Australian. This was pointed out in the podcast list.
Aaron Jeffrey?
Australian actor Aaron Jeffrey.
Oh, got it. Yeah, got it. So the last name of Logan. Yeah, exactly. Even though Victor Creed didn't have the name Logan, but he probably should have been Victor Logan.
Right, but then obviously that's the name that Jimmy or James Howlett decided to take on because that was his real birth name.
A little bit of a mini, and then Tim Pocock as Scott Summers.
Right, and I did
young Scott Summers. Yeah.
One note I'll make about Alice Parkinson, who was the mother of Wolverine, was that she was, first of all, she obviously was screwing the gardener or whatever. But then when Wolverine, as a young man, sees Thomas Logan murder the man who he thinks is his father, Wolverine, much like Gene Illustrated, said, well, sometimes in puberty and in times of heightened stress, that's when mutations exhibit. So that's when Wolverine gets his claws, which were basically a sharp, bony material. And he murders his birth father, who says, sorry, son, and dies just in a very typically corny fashion. And then, yes, young Jimmy runs out. Victor chases him. He says, we're brothers. We got to be together.
We'll always be together. Right. In 1787, Canada.
It was. I thought it was like the maybe the 1840s.
Sure, why not? It could be any time. They're oldies, old times.
Yeah. After this, you get a montage that is my favorite part of the movie because you see the brothers fighting in the Civil War. Then and it's a nice transition with the music. And like I said, for me, it was the best part of the movie. Transition forward, and they're in World War I. Then they're there on D-Day, which is funny because April and I just watched Saving Private Ryan last night, which of course starts with D-Day. This was obviously a little bit more truncated. I would have loved to have just seen Captain America walk by, though. You know what I mean? But I guess
before we actually had it, there's can we get that guy to be a Captain America type? Yeah, sure.
And that was the man.
What's he doing?
You finally see them in Vietnam, which is where the story picks up because
nothing good happens in Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly. That's when they finally get hooked up with Stryker because it was a funny scene. They said Stryker finds the two brothers alone in a cell together, and Stryker, who is a major or colonel or something, he's like, well, I understand your execution was scheduled for 1,100 hours. How did that go? And Wolverine says, it tickled because they can't be killed. And then that's when they get recruited for the big Weapon X program, and we're off and running. And it's funny, Fox is, like I said, Danny Houston must be owned by Fox. This was just a cavalcade of like dudes you saw in 24, which again, April and I are watching, but it's like the African diamond merchant was a villain in the season of 24 we're watching right now. Just tons of stuff. And this was all filmed in Australia too. So they had to fly all those people down there.
Yeah, and then Danny Houston, I think his first big breakout role was it the 30 Days of Night? That movie.
Oh, that makes
amazing.
Sense. And he's of course married to Angelica Houston. Thus, that is the.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I know it's not just coincidence.
She's I assume she's much older than him, but maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, this movie, before we get into the nitty gritty of it, I will preface in saying that this movie is kind of bittersweet for me. My son Noah, my oldest son, he's actually just turned 24, adored this movie when he was 9 when it came out. And he and I, unfortunately, haven't spoken in a number of years, but we loved this movie together. So it's a little challenging for me. It's tough for me to be objective. But
I will tell you, Sarli, you're completely wrong. Angelica Houston is his half sibling.
Oh, there we go. It was the name. The name threw me off. But yes, thanks.
But she was the child of John Huston, the famous director. Yeah. So it'd be weird that she married another Houston.
I did not know any of those connections.
Houston.
But now it's all very clear. So, all right, well, let's get into the meat. Todd, how are we feeling about this movie?
So, this is the movie that I think felt like this is the X-Men at its I guess it would be Nadir. Not the Zenith, the Nadir.
We were on our way down.
Not the Apex. So let's get our terms correctly. The horizon's here, the Nadir is down here, and the vertical, the parallels, all that stuff.
And pitch and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
I think there are some good parts, like you talked about, like I think if we basically stopped or continued on with them in time doing things, I think this could have been a completely different film that would have been very interesting. Once we layered in, we're going to make a team that is full of mutants and we're going to pull off a gig, but essentially it's not for everybody and Wolverine gets a conscience late in the game.
Right.
And then it just turns into more of I don't know, like kind of like a cavalcade of like cameos, and the
Right.
plot's kind of weird. We get weird, motivation by William Stryker, what he wants to do and why he wants to do it.
The big
And the
fake
team.
out with the love story, and then you think she's dead, but the whole thing was a setup. But then at the end of it, Wolverine forgives her and helps her liberate her sister, who happens to be at the 3 Mile Island. It was funny. I was just watching a SNL retrospective that mentioned the date of the 3 Mile Island. So in case you were wondering, 3 Mile Island took place in 1979, which would be the end of this film, which means the Vietnam bit took place.
So they caused 3 Mile Island? This movie caused 3 Mile? Oh my God, I didn't even realize that.
Retroactively, which would mean the Vietnam parts took place in the early 1970s.
Yep.
The team stuff ended around 1973 because we know there's a 6-year difference between the end of the team stuff and then the second and third act of the film. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess not to get too far ahead of it. So we have the official ultimate, Stryker forms this team. It's Will.i.am. It's Agent Zero. It's Deadpool. They go on a mission essentially to, what was their actual objective in the mission, Charlie?
They needed to find a meteor rock or some kind.
That's right. That Stryker wanted.
Yeah, they're in Africa.
Yes.
It was rumored within that scene in the village where they were going to just kill all the villagers when they didn't find what they wanted. That one of the villagers was Aurora Monroe, was Storm. But that was one of those rumored or left on the cutting room floor or something like that. But that was when Logan said, I can't do this anymore. I'm walking away, and he just disappears. And it
was really like Sabretooth kind of wanted to continue his bloodlust. Everybody else was perfectly fine killing everybody, and we walked away. So then Wolverine walks away, and then we find him as a lumberjack with a girlfriend
in Canada. 6 years later.
How many years? 6 years later. So kind of established a life, and it's as we know, when you're happy in a place where you're doing a job that you probably aren't destined to do, things are going to go wrong, right?
Absolutely. And that's what happened. So Stryker shows up in Zero, and he's like, Victor went nuts and he's killing everybody now. And da-da-da-da-da. And, a day later, Victor does show up and appears to murder Wolverine's girlfriend. And so now Wolverine's on a bloodlust, and Stryker says, I can do this experiment and give you this magical metal, and we know you can survive the procedure where if I inject it into your
because apparently
skeleton,
Wolverine could never beat Victor without the abilities.
Because there's a big fight scene. The Weekly Planet guys had a fun with that as well. Logan gets tossed into the log, so he's logging.
Kenny Loggins.
Oh my God, Highway to the Danger Zone. But anyway, so that's how and then we kind of blend they go to Acolyte Lake and they blend it back into X2 with with like the room where it happened, where obviously he fights Lady Deathstrike.
The room where it happens. Thank you.
The room where the stuff happens, and we get naked Logan butt when he pops up. The reason all the girls went to the movie is that they could see a naked Hugh Jackman from the back. I love it. They do the procedure, and and he's underwater. I don't know why they need to put him underwater, but they put him underwater and inject him with all this stuff, and he dies. And they're like, "Come on, come back!" And then he comes back, and then for some reason, I guess he does have super hearing, but he hears Stryker say, "Well, just erase his memory."
Throw him in the toilet. Throw him in the toilet. Oh,
he's a toilet baby now.
Oh, flush him down. That's why it's in water, Charlie. He's in the toilet tank.
Because they're going to push flush him. It's just going to go. Yeah, the bottom's going to go like this.
Yes.
I forgot about the super hearing part. That gets
retrieve the adamantium, and we're going to try it again.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the rock they got in Africa. It all comes full circle.
Right.
Wolverine's now can use his claws. He's dangerous and
more dangerous.
He doesn't call we be careful who you call Bub, right? Because that's where we go next, right?
Right, yeah.
Wolverine's gonna track everybody down.
You of course forget, the poor old Canadian couple that gets killed when Zero blows up the barn and stuff. The people who took him in.
That would be
And so, yeah, then he ends
The
up,
Hudsons. Yeah.
he hooks back up with Will.i.am, but not the rest of the Black Eyed Peas, which I think was a huge missed opportunity myself.
Fergie could have been a good
Emma
Jean
Frost.
Grey.
Oh, Jean Grey.
Or yeah. And then what was the other one? Apple D App could have been like
the Asian guy, the real like skinny.
he could have been Sunfire. And then, we were good to go Apple D App. Yeah, that's great.
God.
Yeah. What was the other guy? Voodoo or Karma or... What was the other guy's name?
You make them sound like they're American gladiators. I don't know. There was a third guy. You're going to have to Google it.
There should be a Black Eyed Peas like comic book where they're superheroes because that would be amazing.
No. Don't funk with my heart. Anyway, all right.
I'm looking at the roster of the Black Eyed Peas really quick. Charlie, let you know. Now, Charlie, we have to talk about this. Taboo. That's who it is. Taboo.
That's that game. Yeah. That's that game. Taboo. Can't say the word. So anyway, we end up in New Orleans where we meet we see Fred Dukes from earlier in the movie, the awesome Kevin Durant, who's now put on like 300 pounds. He's the Blob now, and he has to have a boxing match with Wolverine, and Wolverine's wearing boxing gloves, but puts his claws through him and says, "I'll cut your head off." And he says, "You've got to go to the island. That's where Stryker keeps all the mutants. But the only guy who knows how to get there is this card playing guy named Remy LeBeau,
who escaped from the island, so he knows where it is."
So when they find Remy LeBeau, the ensuing fight where Victor shows up means that Will.i.am dies. And
because Victor, there's a good fight in he's going to kill him, and he's like, teleporting, which wasn't too bad. Will.i.am was not bad in this film.
No,
he had a cowboy hat, Charlie, that made him legit.
Totally legit. So then Victor obviously kills him by jumping on and grabs his spine and breaks his back. It was the violence in this movie. I noticed both in this, and I definitely see it in 24 a lot. Maybe it's a Fox thing. When someone gets stabbed and they pull the knife back out, there's never any blood on it.
There's no blood in this. There's no blood in this movie whatsoever.
Even when Wolverine gets shot in the head at the end of the film. Not to jump ahead.
No blood. No.
Yes, but anyway, So then after a big punch up, very typically in films like this, Gambit says that he will take Wolverine to the island. Then they go to the island. They walk in. They walk in on doing an experiment.
I will give Gambit a lot of credit because I thought the fights and what Gambit brought to the table was pretty cool. He uses his staff kind of like a flying. He charged things really easily. Used the card. So, not a great Cajun accent, but kind of cool take on much better than Channing Tatum. Thank God Channing Tatum has never been, because I don't want that, but he's probably in Wolverine and Deadpool though.
You think so? Yeah. Because there hasn't been any other live action Gambit since this time. This was pretty much it.
No.
So anyway, they end up at the island. They walk in on Stryker. He's performing the final experiment under someone under a cloth, so you don't know who it is. And that's when it gets revealed that the whole thing with his girlfriend's really alive, and the whole thing was a scam. They faked her death in order to enrage Wolverine so he would undergo the procedure. And Wolverine, with this deception, he's just like, you know what? I can't handle it.
Screw him out.
Yeah, he walks away.
And it's a ploy because Stryker wants to create the ultimate soldier to kill all mutants, because his son, as we see, his son is like on ice,
right?
And which we know his son later on creates basically
tangentially. Obviously, they're trying to make you feel this is kind of shoehorned in with the other films, because you have the young. One scene we missed was you have the young Scott Summers, Cyclops, that you thought, oh, this guy could grow up to be James Marsden, but we don't have Jean yet. But you have all these other mutants. So, and then you do get a really horribly de-aged Patrick Stewart at the end of it.
So the mutants that were captured, the one of them was, we find out, Silvermane finally comes through and
Silver Fox,
she's
not Silvermane.
Silver Fox.
He's a Spider-Man villain with the Maggie.
The old millionaire guy. Yeah. So Silver Fox comes through, but we find out the reason why she went through all the hijinks because her sister, who ends up being Emma Frost, which is so bizarre.
Right.
And then we've got other mutants, and they're letting go, and they were basically utilizing all of their abilities to create the perfect mutant, who happens to be
Deadpool at Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool with his mouth all sewn together. And again, if you've never seen this movie but have seen the end of Deadpool 2 and the extra credit scenes, it's recapped in that. But yeah, they turned him into one individual with the powers of all the other mutants that you've seen in this film.
Got sword fingers. He's got Cyclops blasts. He can teleport like Wraith. What else can he do? Is it the main ones that we see?
Yeah, those are the bit. Well, he can. Did he have some kind of ice power? Did somebody have ice powers? I don't know. Maybe not.
Was that like Emma Frost powers? Like he could like make. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think he did a
lot of stuff.
We'll focus on those main three. But yeah, then Victor is there the whole time. But Victor says,
because he didn't kill Vector. Wolverine pulled back, did not kill Victor. Kind of like, hey, I'm going to let it go. You actually didn't kill her, but you're still a bad dude.
Right. But then the two of them put their, they're also helping all of these poor caged mutants escape. He has this great money shot where he's running down with his claws out and he's slicing all the locks to the cages and they'll fly open. Ching, 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 ching. And so he's trying to lead Kayla with Emma Frost and Cyclops and all the other mutant kids down this long hallway, and it's just, and then a door opens. It's just like the Duel of the Fates. So it's like the end of episode 1 with Darth Maul, and because he's like, take the kids out of here, and then then we see the Deadpool, and it turns into the big fight. Now we do find out we're at a nuclear power plant.
We're on the top of a nuclear reactor having a good time.
So that's when it looks like Logan is going to fall to his death. That's when Victor shows up and says, "Nobody kills you but me. Let's fight it out." So they slug it out together, and they eventually. It was funny because it's actually very similar to episode 1, the Star Wars film, because they decapitate him as opposed to cutting him in half, and at the end of it
the head just goes down, and it's blasting the Cyclops beams,
right?
And I'm like, holy crap, did it ever stop? When did he close his eyes?
Well, it did, because I don't know, we have a conversation about the stinger, but we can get back to that in a minute. But anyway, Wolverine does finally get down, and Stryker's walking at him. He's going to kill him, but a couple of scenes previously, Stryker has a gun with adamantium bullets, and it turns out if you shoot Wolverine in the brain with an adamantium bullet, he will lose his memory. So he does, and
it bounces off the adamantium skull, and it just turns into scrambled eggs.
Yeah, so just
kind of like Sage, Charlie.
Oh, there you go. But it grew back, but not exactly the same. That's what they were saying on Weekly Planet. Like, is the bullet still in there? Or because how would it
never spit out?
Yeah. Would it just fall out his ear at some point if he just did this? Maybe. I don't know. So at any rate, he loses his memory. Kayla gets killed in the ensuing melee, but not before she touches Stryker's leg and says, keep walking and walk away from here.
Walk until your feet bleed dry.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess did Stryker have like fake feet? X-Men 2?
It wore his shoes out. But it's weird. It's weird because so obviously after this, Gambit shows up and says, hey, I know you. I don't know you. Blah blah blah. He says, well, you better get out of here. So Gambit was not part of anything. He sat in the plane that flew them there. I don't know why he had a plane. But then he takes off, and it's funny that big pull-out shot. Where the camera just goes up. You do see Gambit's little plane take off. At that very last shot of that.
And then Wolverine runs away, and
he goes off to it's the next 20 years or so is he just, and then we meet him.
Goes to back to the Klondike?
No, the Laughlin City. That's where we meet him. Remember, Laughlin
City.
Oh
yeah, because that's right. Yeah, Alaska. Because Rogue wanted to go there, and
exactly
because it's exotic.
But yeah, that's it. But no, the post credits is we get the U.S. Army catches up with Stryker, which is real weird because 20 years later he's not in prison for murdering the general who he murdered the general.
That's right.
Who was giving him a hard time. Maybe they weren't able to make it stick. Who knows? And then there were two different after credit scenes. We got one in the U.S. and one was overseas. The overseas one, which I think was in Japan, was just Wolverine sitting in a bar smoking a cigar, not knowing who he is, which is not much of a scene. Because it's like what happens.
And it didn't happen yet, right? Yeah. Because we got the Wolverine next.
Right. We have is that the anyway. But the scene that we did get is the rubble of the destroyed nuclear power tower. and you see a hand, like kind of like Cousin It, come out of the. And Todd, I know you didn't know about this because I don't think you watched it. I told you about it after the fact.
Well, Disney Plus is bad because they don't have the shit in it. I'm sorry, but because I go to the end of the I go through the credits and it's like there's nothing there. I'm like, what am I missing?
I'm telling you, I watched it on Disney Plus.
I will look again. I will look again.
But you see a hand reach over and grab a head, and it's Deadpool, and he's still alive. And he goes, the skin around his mouth came loose, and he goes, shh, and that's the end of the movie. So you're meant to think that Deadpool's still alive. There you go, and that's the movie.
Yes.
All right. So, final thoughts before we give it the big 0 out of 10 clause.
You know, maybe I'm becoming a little bit more forgiving in my old age, but now that I've seen so many bad X-Men films, I'm like, this one isn't as bad as I remember.
It kind of pushes it somewhere to the middle, doesn't it?
I mean, there's some dumb parts, of course, but I mean, the Deadpool part was, I'm like, that's horrible. Oh my God. Because I probably thought we'd never get Deadpool again. So I'm like, that's how we're going to end it. But obviously now where we have Deadpool going and where we're seeing this, I'm like, I appreciate, you know what?
Yeah.
What we can say with the Fox X-Men is they tried really hard. Considering they were kind of making up as they went along, because I don't think they had a long-term plan. So I'll say this one it had its good points. And I think Liev Schreiber was a great addition, because Tyler Mane would probably have been the worst thing ever if you brought him in. He
just wasn't an actor where Liev Schreiber was a serious actor. Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I agree with you. And again, I have kind of the rosy colored glasses because, you know, my son and I love this movie so much. But yeah, looking at it with the benefit of the fact that this was from 15 years ago and everything we had in between, we had some great X-Men movies in between, and we had the worst X-Men movies in between. We had,
every two, it's the rule of two with X-Men, right? It's the rule of two. Too good, too bad. Too good, too bad.
Yeah, exactly correct. So anyway, out of 10 adamantium claws for a mixture of this and that, I will give this one a 7 for the enjoyability.
I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Fair. 6.5 claws.
Not fair. A lot of great one-liners. Not a lot of, some good fights, but you know what? Good William Stryker though. William Stryker probably has the best actors portraying a character. Yeah. Although we got the one from the Days of Future Past, who quite honestly, who was that?
Yeah, he's just some dude, and you see him in the next.
It's probably Reacher for all I know. Like, oh, it's Reacher.
Could have been Alan Richardson. You didn't know it before he got buffed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. All right. Well, next week, and actually later this week, we record Deadpool the First with a longtime guest that we've been after, a cosplayer friend of mine from the East Coast, Joe Colton. So I look forward to doing that. But anyway, in the meantime, that is our show. Todd, where do people find you out there?
They find me on Threads at Teoxtra, at Secret Friends Unite. We're still on Twitter at Teoxtra, at Secret Friends U. If you're there, we're there too. But yeah, check out our stuff. We want you to enjoy our YouTube channel. We do a lot of good stuff there as well. Our audio and video is there. We'll fix Charlie's podcast eventually.
Working on it.
No clue why Code 47 is having hijinks.
That's weird tweaks. Listen to the main feed. They're all there. They're all there for the most part, I hope. But anyway, you can find me also on Twits and on Instagram at the C3. Just spell it out. I spend a ton of time on our SFU Discord, but also on a Discord that my wife and I recently started. We are lifelong Star Trek fans, and we'd love to foster the Star Trek community here in Michigan. So we started a Discord called the United Trekkers of Michigan, and anybody can join. As I said, a Michigan focus. But you know what? If you just want to talk, no frills, no BS, but just want to talk about the latest Star Trek stuff, we are there for you. So find us there on Discord. We'd love to chat with you. With that, I'm going to tell you, as always, friends, thank you for joining us. Sharing is caring, and keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
I said bub, not blob.
Oh, I see what you did there.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server. or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube